Let's Grow Therapy. Let's talk about my psychic opening. So, we're taking it all the way back to 2019. I'm doing intuition work, and I basically am going through it on a physical level. I have just gotten diagnosed with Hashimoto's, but I'm feeling pretty proud of myself because intuitively I am gaining a lot of strength and confidence. I learned how to read my aura. I know where my soul is. I can see things in my third eye. We are cooking with gas. And I always say, if you are somebody who struggles with confidence, if you don't know who you are, you don't know where you're going, and talk therapy is in cutting it from a talk therapist, do intuition work. If you really want to learn how to build confidence and believe in yourself, do intuitive work. Learn how to read your own signals. This is not psychicness. This is not like going to see a psychic or a medium. This is going to work with an intuitive practitioner who is trained and knows what they're doing to actually teach you how to access your soul and believe in yourself. But I digress. That has nothing to do with the story. The real story is that as I'm doing this intuitive work, all of a sudden I am minding my own business. I go to bed one night, I wake up the next morning, and I've had a clear-cut dream that I'm going to see someone on the street. Like that. I wake up and I'm in a daze. I'm like, this is the weirdest morning of my life. The dream was so real. I'm sitting at a table. They're walking towards me. I can see them perfectly clearly. It was someone I knew in my real life. And all of a sudden I'm like, weird. Later that night, I'm out. I didn't have plans. Okay. Somebody said, do you want to hang out that night? And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. I am out. And I am sitting at a table in New York City. And sure enough, I'm taking a sip of my drink. And this person comes walking towards me. It was an exact replica of the dream that I had had the night before. And now all of a sudden, I'm just like, what? Well, this is weird. This is so weird. But I'm also excited about it. I'm like, great. I'm psychic. I can see things that are about to happen. And that kind of stayed with me for a while. It was just riding this high of being things that maybe you're not supposed to know, but cool. You see it in your dreams. You now saw it in real life. This is great. And I got pretty decent at working with signs from the universe and predicting things that were about to happen. I wasn't necessarily operating in the third eye space. It was more just I call it a spidey sense. I could just feel things that were about to happen, and then they would. Or I would know someone was going to call, and then they would. In the grand scheme of predictions, these are pretty low level, but if you were somebody who had lacked confidence like I did, it was a great feeling to be I knew it. I knew it. I was God, I think it was 4 for 4 with pregnancies. I would always have a dream the night before and then just be so-and-so is going to call, they're pregnant. And always happened. To the point that I started screenshotting my own dreams. I would write it down to get the date at the top of the note and be this is about to happen. And then when it came true, I would share it with the mom-to-be. All of this stayed pretty much the same until I think it was I can't remember what the actual day was, but I was in New York and I basically had a ton of energy buzzing through me. I hadn't moved to Boston yet, so it had to be around 2019, 2020. And I basically am flooded with this buzzing energy. And I'm just I can't sit still. I do a ridiculous mile-long walk. I do a full workout. I go back to my apartment. I still can't sit still. I grab my journal. I go outside, and this is important because I never take my journal outside. And I go outside, and the moment my pen hits my paper, it's something takes over me. Literally, I'm just that. I still have the journal. I can't read the handwriting. It was something took over my entire body. I don't even remember what the message was. I left. And I had never had a channel before. I had never had a download before. I had no idea what this was. So I literally called my Reiki master and I was what is this? And thank God she was oh, congratulations, you psychically channeled. You've had a download. I didn't know who it was from, what any of this meant. I just knew that oh, okay, I guess I'm open to the universe now to receive messages. And the important part about this is when you open to everything. And that's not a space that you really want to be in. You don't want to be open to everything. You only want to be open to receiving your highest good whatever that means for you. But like, I don't want to be receiving messages from all over the universe. No shot. So then I had to learn how to not be open and not receive psychic downloads, which is a very weird experience because it takes your whole body. Like, a psychic download is literally takes everything out of you, because it's another thing taking over you for a brief moment in time, and then it's gone. And how you actually say no to that is really important, because I thought, because I didn't know what I was doing, I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're open, and that means that it's okay if my physical body takes a hit. No, it's not. That's okay if my chakras are always open. Absolutely not. But there was a period of time where I was like, okay, this is it. Like, my body is just a channel for whatever's meant to come through. And that was not the space to be in, because you can really lose sight of yourself. This all leads up to Boston, where, as we all know, I get really sick. During this sickness, about, 6 months in, maybe a little less, like January. So I got sick in like September, October. Now we're in January. I start seeing things that aren't there. And at this point, I am so sick that I actually think that I'm hallucinating. Like, I am just in a space where I'm like, this is it. You are absolutely, like, you're not well. And I remember, like, sitting on a couch and telling my partner, like, do you see that? And, like, pointing in the corner, and, like, I can see dark shapes and I can see all of this stuff, and them being like, are you sure you're okay? And the answer was, I don't know. I don't know if I was, because I could just see things that weren't there, and then I started hearing things that weren't there. And that's a really scary point to be in, especially when, if physically you are sick, you don't know which way is up. And I had no idea if this was psychic, if this was physical, if I was just like so deep in it that I was never going to come out of it. Like, there was no clarity. It wasn't until about a year later, almost a full year, that I started regaining control over what was happening to me from a psychic sense. And that is because I stopped practicing all intuitive work for about a year. I basically just like turned off. I stopped practicing, I stopped meditating, I let my body heal, I focused on just like getting my health back. And that worked for a portion of time until I started getting extreme like pressure in my head that had nothing to do with the migraines that I was experiencing. It literally felt like things were always like tapping on my head. And I now know that that is, in my mediumship work, that is somebody trying to get my attention. Because once you're open, you're open. In the psychic world, like, once, I don't know how to explain this. Once like the psychic side knows you're open, and once the mediumship side knows you're open, like, you're a beacon for receiving other people's stuff. And so then I had to go back to the drawing board and like relearn what it meant to be intuitive, a psychic, and a medium at the same time. All skills that I did not have prior to 2019. So all of these things have been stuff that I needed to learn to navigate and address and figure out. And the important thing for me was that now, being in London, my intuition is 10 times stronger than it ever was in New York. One, because I'm not around as many people as often, but two, because I went straight back to my intuition work, not my psychic or my mediumship work. When I got here, I started re-practicing the initial work that I had done all the way back in 2019. I literally went back to the basics and I said, what does my soul feel like? What is the color of my aura? Do I have all of my energy in me? Is this mine or is this someone else's? And I set a very firm boundary that if it is somebody else's, I don't want it. I don't want to be open to receiving intuitive hits all day long. It's exhausting. It's also really annoying. I don't want to be open to receiving messages from dead people. That's exhausting. It's also really annoying. Imagine somebody like tapping you on the shoulder incessantly for 25 minutes. It's not fun. So I had to literally retrain and say, this is not mine. I'm no longer open to receiving it. I know how to psychically shut down, and I know how to psychically open. And the reason that I'm making this video is not just to tell people about my experience, but it's also to remind you that if you are somebody who's doing intuition work, psychic work, mediumship work, and you feel out of control or like things are being done to you as opposed to you orchestrating it, that's not what it's supposed to feel like. You orchestrate your own physical, mental, and emotional health. You are in control. The things around you are not, even if you are opening to another realm, even if you are tapping into psychic senses, even if you are tapping into mediumship work and you are talking to dead people. That is not things coming through you. You are not a vessel. You are a human being that has a real life here, and you can choose to tune in or you can choose not to. But remember that you always have a choice, because if you do not feel like you have autonomy, and if you are training with someone that makes you feel like you don't have autonomy, that is not work that you are meant to be doing.